Why did the Scotch tape go to therapy? Attachment issues. At 12, I would have been rolling at that joke. Now, imagine yourself at 12. You are faced with having to present a skit to your entire school. You're facing 300 loud and unruly high school and elementary students, including the group who tormented you for 2 years. How do you feel? I was nervous, and I thought I would forget my lines. I wish that I had told myself that Scotch tape joke before I went on stage, because laughter not only releases tension, but it also stimulates the short-term memory. How can you benefit from laughter? Can laughter truly save the world? I want you to consider laughter's 3 vital life support zones: the health and wellness zone, the connection zone, and the confidence and communication zone. Now, the health and wellness zone, let's consider that first. Patch Adams, Dr. Patch Adams, Robin Williams, the actor who portrayed him in the movies, and Richard Pryor all struggled with mental health issues. They learned that they could heal themselves through laughter because laughter releases endorphins and lightens the mood. Dr. Patch Adams went on with his Gesundheit Foundation to share this knowledge with hospitals, because laughter also increases oxygen intake and stimulates the immune system. So how did that help me? I'll tell you about how I experienced zone number 1 in a minute. First, let me tell you, I was born in the back seat of a sports car while my entire neighborhood looked on. My dad said I was fortunate because I was born and conceived in the same place. I just hope he meant the back seat and not in front of the entire neighborhood. Anyway, I moved to Hawaii, and I loved to laugh, I loved to be social, and I loved to run. I was like the Hawaiian Forrest Gump. People would shout, "Run, Malcolm, run!" And I would run around saying, "My mama told me life was like a box of macadamia nuts. It tastes better with beer." Then at 9, I had a virus called Reyes syndrome. And it attacked my brain and liver cells, and they started to swell. And within 12 hours, I was comatose. Now, miraculously, the cells started shrinking. It's as if there was someone out there that said, "Boy, you've got something to do." Because as soon as they shrunk, I woke up, and the first thing I wanted to do is get out of bed and run. But I couldn't move. And I heard the doctors tell my parents that I could be paralyzed for the rest of my life. Now, I wasn't going to stand for that, so I worked really, really hard with my caregivers. And after a few months, I was able to stand on my own, shuffle from point A to point B, and grunt. And of course, that's when Mom said, okay, now that you can walk and talk, it's time for you to go back to school. I'm thinking, wait, I'm not ready. No, I look and sound like a monster. Puts me back, and sure enough, from day one, I was bullied. I was hit. I was called names, or I was ignored. I didn't understand what was happening at all, because before this, I was this lively, vivacious actor type. And now I'm this 10-year-old version of Frankenstein's monster. After about 2 years of seeing me depressed, my stepfather suggested that I join Mrs. Saito's speech and drama club. Now here's where I learned the benefit of zone number 1, because while I had been running a year before that, Mrs. Saito, she told us, just laugh. If you're nervous, just laugh. If you're scared, just laugh. And with that laughter, I felt better. And while I was running, I felt physically stronger. About a year later, I was faced with that position that I started with. I was that 12-year-old having to give this presentation in front of my entire school. And I stood there with the rest of the club. We were standing in a line. And as they stepped up to the mic to give their lines, I was shaking in my shoes, literally. When it was my turn, I stepped up to the mic and I gave my line perfectly. I was so excited that the moment I did, a long line of snot shot from my nose, hung 3 inches from the ground, and then, like a snot yo-yo, the entire auditorium rocked with laughter. I was humiliated. I ran to the bathroom until the event was over, and then Mrs. Saito came in and said, Malcolm, you have some friends who would like to talk to you. I opened the door to my biggest tormentors. Malcolm, wow, you are so funny. We really like the snot bit. Hey, you like come to a party? And that's when I learned zone number 2, the connection zone. Laughter is like that magnet that attracts people to us. If we want people to like us, we can make them laugh. But if we want them to love us, we can make them laugh and make them feel good about themselves. Richard Pryor did this because he was the first Black comedian to realistically portray the Black community and made a lot of Black folk proud. It also made me want to become a comedian. And that's when I learned the power of zone number 3. Early on in my career, I had a contest, a comedy contest at school. And it was the worst moment I've ever experienced, because the moment I started talking, people heckled me Boo! Get off the stage! You suck! You're not funny! Go home! One person called me that racial slur that starts with N. And being from Hawaii, I had never heard that at all. So I was experiencing the same helplessness and confusion that I was when I was ill. That night, I took a razor blade and I was about to slit my wrist when I thought, I wonder if they would have liked the snot bit. And I started cracking up. Laughter gave me the confidence to go on. Now, Dr. Martin Luther King and several other experts have proved the value of nonviolent communication, especially in conflict resolution. Now, laughter is crucial to nonviolent communication because laughter diffuses tension. Laughter breaks down barriers. Laughter creates an atmosphere where we can share our differing opinions without the fear of judgment. So how can you bring more laughter into your life? Well, number one, you can start a humor journal, a journal to collect the moments that amuse you. Or you can watch comedy movies or your favorite comedian. And if you don't have a favorite comedian, find one. Sometimes, though, it's not easy to laugh. We have to force ourselves to laugh because we're going through something very traumatic. Laughter yoga can help us learn how to do this. And so can your favorite comedian. So, how can you heal the world? Just laugh. Mic drop.